Saint Anthony, also known as Anthony the Great, was in many ways the premier Christian role model in the 3rd and 4th centuries. He was a man of extreme devotion to God and was disinterested in the pleasures of earth. Anthony was known as the father of Christian asceticism, choosing to distance himself from comfort and material possessions. He donated nearly all of his inheritance when his parents died, only leaving a stipend for his young sister. He would spend the majority of his life living in a tomb in the desert of Egypt. He would sleep either on the bare ground or with a rush mat, and was known to only consume water, bread, and salt. Anthony lived during a particularly turbulent period in the history of Christianity. The Emperor Diocletian and his persecutions of Christians put the faith's future in jeopardy. Additionally, those persecutions created regional divergences in theology. One such divergence that came from this was the Melitinian Schism. The schism formed after Peter, the bishop of Alexandria, was deposed by Diocletian, and Mellitus of Lycopolis took his place. Mellitus would ordain numerous presbyters who were agreeable to Mellitus's interpretation of the diocese. Peter would respond by excommunicating Mellitus. The Orthodox sided with Peter, but Mellitus was able to quickly amass a sizable following. The significance of the Melitinian Schism was that the traditional role of the Bishop of Alexandria was challenged, and there was much heated debate as to what powers the bishop should have in the future. The most important religious development during Anthony's life was the emergence of Arianism. Arianism was founded by Presbyter Arius of Alexandria after he voiced his opinion that Christ was not of the same substance that God was. Arius argued that by virtue of Christ being created by God and gifted to mankind, he therefore could not be made of the same divine substance that the Creator was. This sparked outrage and quickly formed a powerful schism between the Orthodox and Arius. As the Arian ranks grew, they began to almost violently seize churches and holy sites in the name of Arianism. Anthony was vehemently opposed to all Christians who did not adhere to the strict Orthodox beliefs that he did. On numerous occasions, Anthony would denounce the Arians and Melitinians. Anthony equated the words of these heretics to be worse than the poisons of serpents. Anthony would rally his followers to verbally attack the deviant sects whenever they would encounter one another. Anthony's pious demeanor and absolute devotion to God earned him a prestigious reputation. He became so popular even the Emperor Constantine reached out in hopes of obtaining advice for his sons. Constantine believed that Anthony was in many ways the ideal Christian and was amongst men the most devout. As the conflict between the Arians, Melitinians, Schismatics, and Orthodox Christians began to swell, Constantine ordered the formation of the First Nicene Council to resolve the disputes. Constantine promoted the Orthodox belief of homoousios, which meant that Christ and the Father were of the same substance. The council was for the most part a success, and the religious tensions began to die down. Athanasius, one of the most vocal combatants in the religious conflict, was inspired to write Anthony's biography, which would become one of the most popular books of the century and would introduce Europe to Egyptian monasticism.